Abraham Lincoln. Who was Abraham Lincoln? Learner, lawyer, president. Abraham Lincoln was born in Kentucky on February 12, 1809. He and his family lived in a log cabin with just one room. When Abraham was 7 years old, his family moved to what would soon become the state of Indiana. Abraham spent most of his time helping his father on the farm. Young Abe loved to read and learn. Sometimes he would walk many miles to borrow a book. When he was 19 years old, Abe took a boat trip on the Mississippi River to New Orleans, Louisiana. In New Orleans, Abraham saw black people who had to do hard work on big farms called plantations. They did not get paid for their work, and they were not allowed to leave the plantations. People who are forced to work without pay are called slaves. Abe was very upset to see people being used as slaves. In 1830, Abraham's family moved to the state of Illinois. Abe got a job chopping firewood. He was very tall, 6 feet 4 inches, and very strong. Later, Abraham Lincoln owned a general store in Illinois. A general store sells many different things, including food, clothes, and tools. Abe Lincoln enjoyed talking to people who came into his store. People liked hearing the wonderful stories that he told. Lincoln was fair and honest with his customers. Some people say this is why he was given the nickname Honest Abe. Abe Lincoln continued to learn by studying on his own. He studied the law and became a lawyer. When he was 37 years old, people in the area where he lived in Illinois chose him to be a congressman. A congressman is someone who helps write laws for people who live in a state or a country. In 1860, when Abraham Lincoln was 51 years old, he was elected the 16th President of the United States. Some people in the states in the southern part of the country thought President Lincoln might make it against the law to own slaves. The leaders of those states decided to join their states together to make a new country so they could have their own laws. President Lincoln and the states in the North did not want the country to break apart. The North and the South fought a war called the Civil War. A little more than a year after the war started, President Lincoln signed an important paper. The paper said that all the slaves in the southern states that were still fighting the war were now free. This paper is called the Emancipation Proclamation. In 1865, the Civil War ended. The southern states lost the war, and they continued to be part of the United States. Later that year, the law was changed so that no one in the United States was allowed to own slaves. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most famous American presidents. His face is on the penny and the $5 bill, and his face is carved on Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. There is a large statue of Abraham Lincoln in Washington, D.C., in a building called the Lincoln Memorial. It helps us to remember that Abraham Lincoln was a great president who helped to make the United States a better country.